Okay. Part 4. So, let's put a little bit down here, like so. I'm going to add a little bit of texture to some of this snow. Not much, just kind of blend it back. Give it just a softer kind of feel. And then come back over it. A bit crisper. Because remember, it's always back and forth, back and forth. It's always pushing and pulling to get the look that you want. Okay. All right, so I'm going to bring this back. And as before, we're going to go in and use this stencil to make some changes, but I'm going to go to this really light color, rice paper, and I'm going to go on the top of some of these. To really kind of pull some of this highlights out. Something like that. Break up some of the snow. I may even go a little bit more. Let's do smudge stick. Give a little bit of softness down to some of these. Okay, so I'm really kind of liking that. Like so. Alright, so we got kind of some of that in there. Now I'm going to do what we did before, and I'm going to grab this darker color, and I'm going to come in here with a smaller brush and just kind of go along some of these bottom edges. so. But see everything, and you may think, well, you know, we just did this. Why are we doing it again? Because again, we're building up texture. We're building up layers. So even the stuff that we did before, some of it that seems like it got all covered up is still there. It's just, you know, been softened or pushed around or whatever. So we want to kind of pull some of that interest back with this. So you're not really losing anything when you do it like I did, where, you know, you didn't make a new layer and go on the newer, which feel free to do that because it can make it a little less stressful for you if that's what you want to do. But don't be afraid to just kind of paint it on one layer either. Okay. So let's get rid of this stencil, backspace. All right. So we've got a lot more of an interest there. So let's go back to this and back to 4. And kind of like we did with it previously, just kind of soften some of these layers. Kind of pull it back, and I'm going to switch over to this pebble brush for a second. I want to put just a few more spots here and there. Like so. And I'm going to grab some of this white and just throw in some real highlights here and there. And this is too white, but I'm going to go back over it and smear it, so I'm not worried about it. Okay. Yeah, I'll stay with this one. Like this instead. Get a softer blend. Or more, I don't know, kind of a texture, not as fuzzy type blend, blurry blend. And again, leaving some crisp edges, some soft edges, and just trying to get it all to kind of meld together. So work your way around. Don't stay in one spot. Oops. Space bar, drag, not drag. Let's see, by pushing some of those back here and there, I've got some nice popped edges of snow. Kind of gives a nice look. Okay. So now let's take some of this color here and put a little bit of it over here. So I want to kind of, again, separate out this area, like so. Put a little bit over here too. And a little bit here, a little here, and a little here. And then switch to 4. Just kind of soften some of it. Something like that. I would like to really put some stuff here, like some little houses, cottages kind of thing. So I think I'm going to do that, but first I'm going to go back and add a little bit through here. So I'm going to go back to the mountain midground. Grab a little bit of this color. Just kind of streak in a little bit of interest. Kind of comes up and blends all that together. 4. And just like that. Razzle dazzle. Razzle dazzle. Yeah, a little bit of this color here to pull it forward. And 4. Just like that. Okay, so I think over here I'm going to add some trees, and over here I'm going to add, like I said, I think I'm going to add a couple of houses here and stuff. So I'm going to come up to here. I'm going to make a new layer because this is going to be playing around for a second. So let's see. If I want to make some houses, they are pretty much going to be rectangular. Again, let's go with a kind of a magenta, but then kind of a darker. This will really play off of the to start with just doing a bit of perspective. See about that size. And then maybe another one here. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to. Because I know some people are intimidated by drawing, so don't worry about it. These are very simple, just rectangles and triangles, like so. And the key thing is just kind of keep your lines all kind of lined up. And what I mean by that is that, see how these lines, they roughly go with one another. These are basically vertical. This rectangle, triangle kind of fits on top of that rectangle. So, and just play around with it and get kind of a feel for what you want. We bring this out, make a little side. Could even add a few more if you wanted. Just something like that. Maybe add another one. Something over here, like that. And then I'll add trees and stuff up here. Alright, so that's going to do that. So now all you got to do is go over here, take your selection tool with the polygon, and just kind of follow the rough shape of what you did. Something like that. Switch to your brush. We'll just go with the oily filbert. Up and down because I want a little bit of that texture in there. Like so. Tap on that and we'll go a little bit darker. And just kind of add a little bit of a shadow to where I saw in my mind's eye the side of the building was, or is. Go just a little bit darker to really kind of drive that home, like so. And I know I'm going to put some windows in here, so I'm going to switch back to this one. And I'm going to come over to here, and then up a little bit. And I want to put some light kind of living over in here. Add a little bit of that. Go to really bright orange. Like so. And then you got a little bit of this yellow. Like so. Switch to 4. Blend it. Like that. Control D. Now I want to take, Alt select that color, come in and then drop down and just put a smidge here, a smidge here, a smidge here, bring my size down a little bit. Like that. Okay. Now I can zoom in. I can switch to my grainy pen. Not granny pen, but grainy. Clean up this a little bit. And I can even go back to my masking tool. So I'm using this to make sure that these lines are straight. Oh, whoops. I realized I did that backwards. Hang on, Control I. Control Z, Shift Control I is what I meant to do. Now I have that selected. Oops. Add to selection. Like so. Remove from selection. Like so. Add to selection. Just come down through here. Remove. 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 And 2. So you can use this selection tool to really kind of, as your drawing tool, like so. Then all I gotta do is I can just grab something like the marker tool and just kind of color that in a little bit, go to a little bit darker. And that'll just kind of give it some interest. Almost make it look like there's curtains or something in there. Like that. Okay. So Control D, zoom back out, and see how that starts to give you that real feel of windows and stuff. Again, it doesn't, you can spend as much time on it as you want, you know, so don't stress about it. And one thing I do want to do is I want to add some trim here and there. To some of this. So all I'm doing is just adding a bunch of vertical rectangles, as you can see. Right click, drag it over. And what this is going to do is help define the edges of my building. Okay. Now I can take something like that oily, a little bit of this whitish color. Just kind of throw it on there real quick. And that's going to define those. Then I can grab a little bit of this bluish color and just kind of define where the eaves are about to hang over, because I'm going to do that next. I'm going to push some of those back. Like so. And now all I got to do is do the same thing that I did a second ago. add in my rough shape, which I can go back later and define. Which I mean by later, I mean like here in a few seconds. But by doing it this way, it just gives me a little bit more control over the perspective. Control D. So it's just a matter of kind of cleaning it up a little bit. So now we've got some kind of cool looking stuff here and there that adds to some of the interest. Gives us some scale for everything. And are these buildings perfect? Absolutely not. Do I care? Absolutely not. I could sit here and keep fussing with them and everything else, which part of me wants to, I'm not going to lie. But I think it's, pretty good. So I'll just kind of tidy it up here and there. Add a little bit of snow. Add some snow back here to that one. And then add some snow drifts over top. Like that. And that will hide any issues with perspective. Let me zoom in and fix that. And there we go. So that gives us that nice look to that. Okay. So now for this, I want to come down here, cut that back a little bit, so I can see a little bit more of that edge. Like so. Up ever so slightly. I'm going to do the same for here. Like so. Just kind of muddy that up a little bit. There we go. That's going to help it pop and show a little bit more as far as interest. Okay. Now I want to put some trees over there. Get rid of that blob. All right, so let's go back up to our stencils. And let's go to trees. And actually, I don't want that one. I want this one. Let's add in some over here. We're going to go to green. We're going to go here. We're going to border this. And we're just going to the tree brush. I'm on the wrong layer. Actually, I'm going to go with this other tree brush. And then I'm going to put blue. I'm going to put it in there. And then just kind of streak it around. Like so. Keep that brush. I'm going to add, just tap it. And then to 4. Like so. And then backspace. Still using 4. We'll come along here, kind of soften that. And that's going to set these back in here. And kind of have it in there for that. So we'll come here. Bring this one down as well. Border. Just kind of quickly throw in some color. Throw in some darker color. And then go back to our tree brush. Switch to 4. Like so. Backspace. 1. Add a little bit of highlight underneath, a little bit of shadow underneath, a little bit more highlight. 4. Just kind of blend it like so. And then let's add a few of these fellas. For this one, I'm going to grab just a little bit of this blue. And just kind of throw it in there. A little bit of this blue. 4. And I'm going to hit E for erase. Bring that way down in size. Even just switch to airbrush for this. I want this to just be kind of soft and subtle. Something like that. And these are just kind of some of the icing on the cake kind of stuff. Backspace. Like that. Now I'm going to select the layer, grab my airbrush, grab one of these darker colors, just kind of subtly got a little bit of overspray, no big deal. Something like that. Select it again. A little bit of this white color. Let's switch back to our brush. We'll go tree brush 3. Just kind of tap in some snow here and there, just to add some texture and interest. And then 4, to just kind of blend it. And if there's any of that you don't like, you can just go back to E for eraser. And just kind of clean it up here and there. And we're really zoomed in, so I'm not overly worried about it. Okay. So I think that's given us a nice kind of look. I want to add some stuff here. So I'm going to go under these two. So between these, add a layer. I'm going to back over to stencils. Go back to rocks. I'm going to grab those pebbles. Turn off lock size ratio. Back on. And now what I want to do is grab a little bit of some of this darker. And I'm going to go back to brush. Doesn't overly matter which one I use. soften that down a little bit. So I'm going to go with the, I'll just use the flat oily. Something like that. Backspace. Okay, just cleaning that up a little bit. Adding some interest there. And this is really kind of the, putting the icing on the cake part. So just want to add in those final touches. Darkness in here. Like that. Up to the very top. I'm going to take the airbrush and just add in some softness. Here and there for the lights. We can go with something like this brush, which is a little bit smoother. Goes on a little bit more. Again, we're just trying to push some of this back here and there. So just really soft. I'm going to go down to grainy pen. And just add in some snow drifts here and there. A few more highlights on some of these rocks. Something like that. Get rid of some of these texture lines that just don't make sense. There we go. That's going to work. So now what I want to do is come back down here to the lake. We're going to do just a little bit more on this to make it a little more interesting. Let's use the airbrush. Let's grab a really dark color. And I want to just kind of come in here and there. And just kind of smudge in some interest. You can even go to water and grab this stencil. Again, turning off lock size ratio, stretch it out, bring it down. Add just a little bit of water movement, like that. And like that. We can grab a little bit of this up here. Let's go a little softer. And add in a few spots of just highlights. So again, it's really soft. Come to the mountain mask. I'm going to control click on it. I'm going to shift control I. I'm going to get rid of my stencil. Up to the mountains. I'm going to delete. I'm going to delete. And that's going to really crisp up those mountains and pull them forward and give us that kind of look. Alright, so thinking we're pretty much done. The only thing I might want to do is take the airbrush, come back up to this top layer here, add another layer. I'm going to turn off pigment. I'm going to go to overlay. I'm going to grab a little bit of this yellowish color. Just going to add in the subtlest glows. To the areas. Like so. And let's go a little bit brighter. I really want to capture that feeling of warmth. Alright, so I think that's going to give us kind of a neat look. The only other thing I might do, which we can look at real quick, is grab this other stars one and put that on a new layer, pigment. Let's go to kind of a really, not 100% white, but pretty dang close. And let's, I guess we can stick with the airbrush. Curious what it'd look like if we just added a little bit of snow. Don't like it. All right, so when I hit that point where I'm putting in stuff that I don't like that, that's when I usually say I'm done. So I think I'm done. Anyway, there's a lot of light stuff in this, a lot of things that we've covered, things that I think have been really useful and good to go over. I think that we can, hopefully you got a lot out of it, because I think we covered a lot of stuff. So if you have questions, just like normal, let me know. Definitely will do my best to answer them and go over everything and, get everything taken care of that you have a question about. So just let me know. I appreciate you, as always, watching. I appreciate your feedback. I hope you'll try out the stencil brush and stencil and brush pack that I have for Rebelle. I think you'll like it. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with it for landscapes to give you some really nice look. I know this has been a longer set of videos and workshop, but I really wanted to give you a lot of value in this. So I appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed here on YouTube, please do so. If you haven't joined us over on Patreon, please do so. And make sure to share this with your friends. I am running a contest on how to get these for free, these stencils and brushes and everything. Details will be in the comments of the YouTube video. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks.